next game we want to talk about is a rematch from week 4. So a little bit of time in between, about a month or so. We've got the 6-1 Eagles heading into Washington to play the 3-4 Commanders. This line was 6.5 most of the week. It's moved to 7, and we've got this total at over under 43.5. So Gage, what do you think about this rematch?
Yeah, very fun NFC East. Big division rivalry here. Sam Howell for the Commanders starting to take a little bit of a step back to the pack here after such a hot start to the season. Finally playing a little bit more like almost a rookie, second year player. Um,
But we're
Eagle,
going back to the matchup where we saw him start to have a good stretch.
yeah, where the drive to go tie the football game in Week 4 was absolutely outstanding. Super composed, just ripping timing throws. Really about as good and composed as a quarterback as you can look. And really, maybe some of the reason he's taken a step back here is because how bad this offensive line is. That's what I'll get into first and foremost. It's almost a guaranteed weekly that these guys are going to give up 4+ sacks, and then you've got a D line like Philly coming in. It's probably going to get ugly from there. But the Skins are finding a way. The Commanders, I'm sorry, the Commanders are finding a way to stay in all these games regardless. And no matter what anybody wants to say or think, proof is in the pudding. The Commanders are giving the Eagles a tough game the last two times they've played them, 2 or 3 times they've played them, going to last year where they knocked them off of their unbeaten streak. Um, so giving me 7 with a division rival at home. I do think I lean into the Commanders here. I don't know if it's going to be the public side, which I don't like to play anyway, but I do think that the Commanders with the points is a play that I lean into this week. What are you thinking?
So I would imagine public side a little more Eagles because we did just see them beat the Dolphins.
Yeah,
Also, something that was not on everybody's bingo cards is we saw the Commanders score more points against the Eagles than the Dolphins did. A little bit shocking.
right.
Seven's probably right about the right number because you mentioned we saw close game and saw the touchdown drive that Sam Howell led to end the game to tie it.
Correct.
That was a 7 point game until that drive. So probably right about the right number, even though we're now at the Commanders' home field versus in the link in Philly. Um, I'm kind of leaning more Eagles here. Always terrified though of a home division dog. And like we mentioned in the Cowboys Rams preview, which if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. We've got Cowboys Eagles coming up soon.
Right.
You
So
never overlook a division team, but we know that Cowboys Eagles game is a much bigger game than Eagles versus the Commanders.
and as we've mentioned before, this is part of that stretch where the Eagles are going through the toughest part of maybe anybody has to all season. So this is pretty much the game on their schedule that they have to win over these next 6 or so weeks. So they will be playing their best football, but they have struggled with these guys. So that NFC East is always beat each other up type division. So it's going to be a really fun game to watch. I'll definitely be locked in on this one. I think the Commanders win, but I could see the Eagles blowing them out. But I do think the Commanders keep it close. Got to stop AJ Brown. This guy's been going ridiculous. So, and I shouldn't say stop. You got to contain this guy. So,
They played,
um,
he put up 175
and 2 tutties.
and 2 tutties. And we still saw Devontae Smith, I believe, with 78. So we saw a lot of good play from the Eagles receivers, and we saw a lot of good play from the Commanders receivers.
Yeah,
We saw Scary Terry over 80 yards. We saw Curtis Samuel catch 7 passes.
De'Ami
We
Brown. I think got
De'Ami
it down.
Brown caught a long one, and we saw Logan Thomas even get in for 40 yards. So, like you were mentioning earlier, like we saw a good bit from Sam Howell, and then we've seen a little bit of a regression. We definitely, but that comes and goes with these young quarterbacks.
It's that offensive line. These guys can't.
Yeah,
These guys really can't. Sam's having no shot back there. He's young and having to do all this stuff for the first time anyway. He's showing such good signs sometimes, but these guys can't protect him, and it's really something that they're gonna have to go address at some point.
And at the same time, too, it's easy for a younger quarterback to hold on to the ball and try to make a play. You know, you really want to make plays when you're trying to earn your spot versus being a little more veteran. You throw that ball away.
I think that's a great point. You're seeing that a ton out of Sam Howell, a guy with a huge arm.
Yeah,
Likes to scramble around, likes to try to make that play. He'll mature. He'll start making the right decision there. So I do expect him to struggle a little bit with this tough defense, but maybe he can get back in that good play column.
and with that being said, like I said, you can kind of look at this two different angles. We've got the line exactly what the game was when the Commanders got the ball back. It'd be in a 7 point game, but we've got it in DC. So you could definitely take that home division dog. You could definitely take the Eagles to at least push on that 7. I think one of the more interesting angles is you mentioned seeing at least 4+ sacks probably. Last time they matched up, we saw 5. So taking Reddick to get a sack, or Jalen Carter to get a sack, or Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. I mean, you can just go on and on and on with these Eagles guys.
The D line, they're gonna get their money this week for sure. Definitely like those props. But like I said, the Skins have kind of been having to play to that anyway. So I still look for them to put some points up.
Definitely agree. With it being a division game, like you don't see this being a blowout, but could be right on that 7 number with the Commanders needing a big drive at the end of the game again. Let us know below if you're leaning away in this game or if you're an Eagles fan or a Commanders fan. And also let us know which way you're leaning for this upcoming Eagles Cowboys game, because that'll be a fun one to talk about on the Tease the League pod.